Hi everybody, welcome back to the farm. We are Christine and Scott at Cabin Creek Homestead, and we're here with our sweet beloved horse and our donkey Virgil. And today we're going to tell you all about our fence. This fence is super important to us because we are housing all kinds of animals inside of it. It is a 5-foot tall non-climb horse fence, and our posts are 4 inch
wide, 6.5 foot long, round, pressure treated. Yeah, made for ground contact. We got the ones that were for ground contact.
Right. If this is your first time joining us in this video and you notice our horse has a very sad looking eye, she is having eye surgery on the 17th in just a couple of weeks to remove eye cancer. I know it looks scary. It does get wiped down every day, but she's not in any pain. It's just uncomfortable. It was quite a process to build this fence because I don't know anything about building a fence except
me neither.
Some of it has to go in the ground and it's a lot of hard work. So tell us about the process.
Yeah, so the first thing we did was we wanted to know the size and the shape of the pasture. So you and I came out here one day and we kind of laid out the shape of it. Yeah, we walked it out. We knew we wanted about an acre of a pasture. Didn't you tell me one time 1 acre per, like a horse an acre?
Yeah, it's a good idea to have that much room per horse. And we're also planning on doing rotational grazing, and every 30 days rotating the pasture that your animals are in really helps the grass to grow back and not turn into a giant mud pile, which this one's already doing, but there was just no way around it because we moved in the winter.
Right, so the next pasture will be maybe back there, and the fence for that one will be different than this one. This is the one that you can see when you pull in the driveway, so we wanted to do a little bit nicer, make it wood posts. Yeah, so yeah, we laid out the shape that we wanted it to be, and we kind of had it, you'll see in a minute, we kind of had it curved down the driveway, and then it kind of runs the curvature of the creek as well. That was on purpose. I know it's not a perfectly straight fence. A lot of people have asked us, hey, you know your fence isn't straight, right? Yes, we do. It may not be the best way to do it, but we wanted to kind of bend with the creek and bend with the driveway. So that was our goal. So for us, the first thing we did was we laid it out the shape that we wanted, and then I just started to buy posts. I didn't get them all at once because we didn't have that kind of money. Things are more expensive these days.
Oh my goodness.
So we bought 10 or 20 at a time, or 10 or 15 at a time. And big shout out to my buddy Ernie, my former small group leader at church, a good friend of mine that lives out this way. He came out, and we have some video of this.
We do.
He has a gas powered hand auger. So probably the first 12 to 15 holes he dug for me, and he kind of gave me some tips on what to do. They're 6.5 foot posts, so there's about 16 to 18 inches of it's in the ground, and then if you'll notice in the video, we put a layer of gravel at the very bottom, and that helps for moisture for it to drain at the very bottom. These are made for ground contact, but over time they could still rot, so to be on the safe side, we put a thin layer of gravel at the very bottom. All right, so we switch angles so you can get a better look at the fence. So the first 15 or 20, 12 to 15 Ernie and I did, and then his auger needed a new spark plug, I think, so he had to take it. And then another big shout out to my buddy from church, Martin. He came out with his tractor and the auger bit on the back, and he dug, well, I did a few by hand, and then he probably dug 30 holes in about an hour. So big shout out to Martin, thank you for that. So yeah, they were 6.5 foot long posts. We put about 16 to 18 inches in the ground, thin layer of concrete at the bottom, and then we packed it with concrete around it. We did the no mix concrete, so you just pour it in, and we tamped it down, poured some more in, tamped it down, put water on top of it, and then covered it with the soil, so you couldn't see the concrete. And that's how they're all pretty much in the ground. So we run it. Did you want to turn around and show?
We'll walk it and do like a whole tour with our drone a little bit later.
Right.
I'll give you some nice drone shots of it.
And we've got 3 gates. So there's 2 8-foot gates, one right by the barn, one on the end of the pasture, and then one on the other end of the barn. So 3 ways to get in and 3 ways to get out. And then major shout out to our neighbor Keith.
Oh my
Keith
goodness.
and Kim. Keith came out.
I gotta tell this story.
Yeah.
their help came
Let me see if he'll leave from my here. Good.
Your glove's gonna get wet, just so you know.
Good.
Their help came so sweetly. I called a neighbor up the street. By the way, if I had to move based on who I wanted to live by, I would still choose them as neighbors. There's just the sweetest, have so much in common. I could just spend hours with them. You know, those kind of people that don't drain you, but you just love spending time with. I love them. Anyway, I called Kim up the street and I said, we kind of need a handyman. We're running out of time to finish this gate, the fence, because somebody in our family bought the animals before we had the fence. And we were just running out of time. They were cooped up in their stalls, and the only time they got out of the stall was when I took them on a walk, which is weird to take your horse for a walk when you're not riding them. Anyway, and she said, well, we don't know a handyman, but we're going to come down and take a look at it, and maybe we'll help you finish your gate. So they came down and they took a look at it, and they helped us stretch this non-climb horse paneling fence all the way around. So we learned how to...
Walk with us down this way, Jewel. Here, see if Virgil will follow.
Come on, Virgil.
Walk with us down this way. Yeah, so keep going. What I was saying was, so we tied the end down, and then he used his tractor, and he stretched it all the way around for us, and then we nailed it in using these fence, what do they call it? Fence staples.
Yeah.
These right here. We nailed it in all the way down, and some go on the outside and some go on the inside. So he helped us do that, and, come here. You know, whenever you ride by a farm, I've always seen how the corner posts are in, but I didn't know how to do it. Well, Keith knew how to do it. So he helped me put these braces in, running the high tensile wire, and this is like the middle part of a ratchet strap. And there's one on every corner, and it's actually not complete. I have a few more left to do, but he taught me how to do it. He helped me do probably 5 or 6 of them. So major shout out to Keith. I couldn't have done it. As you can tell, we don't know what we're doing. We had Ernie help me, Martin help me, and now Keith and Kim. So we have
learn as you go.
We have no idea what we're doing, but we're learning, and it's great. And the fence looks really good. It's not perfect. It's not professionally done, but it's really good. We like it, and we're very, very grateful to everybody that's helped us.
Right. So let me tell you a little bit about this fence and why we chose this style for us. This fence is 5 feet tall. 5 feet tall?
5.5.
5.5, that's right.
Ish.
And
Between 5 and 5.
The paneling that we have on it, rather than going with wood slats in the middle, this is going to keep in the horse, the donkey, the goats, and the poultry. So we have chickens and ducks and quail, but I have some big dreams of raising turkeys. I love blue slate turkeys. I can't wait to get my hands on some. And this would be the ideal fence for them because it is predator proof as much as a fence can be, because it's tall, but it also has really small slats in it that something like a fox could not get in. They could get over, but we have a donkey for that.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, donkeys are great barnyard protectors, and that is his job. All of our animals are working animals. He is our protector. So I love this fence. We don't have electric right now. We don't have need of it, but it's going to keep the goats in. It's going to keep the horse contained and keep all the poultry safe.
Do a quick look around just so y'all can
nice and
see
slow.
nice and slow. You can kind of see the angle that I was talking about. It kind of runs the angle of the creek and then all the way around.
There it is.
There. So you can see now there's the barn, and then there's the gate, and then it runs all the way down to the creek. Or no, sorry, not to the creek. What was really funny is my neighbor came down, Mr. Keith, and he was like, "Oh man, good idea not having the fence go all the way down to the creek." And I was thinking, yeah, sure. And I said, just why do you think that's a good idea? And he said, well, if it's a really big rain, sometimes the creek might flood a little bit. So if your animals are down here, it could flood into your creek, it could flood into your post, and that's not good. And I was like, yeah, that's why I did that. Sure.
That wasn't a happy accident.
The real reason I did it is just because we have a golf cart, and like the kids have bikes, and we just want to be able to get to the other end of the pasture and the property without really having to worry about animals or having to worry about going in and out of the pasture or having to fight around a fence. So we made it probably a good 20 yards away from the creek.
Right.
We did that just for convenience sake, but it turned out to be a good thing because the creek could flood if it came up a really bad rain. So
Really could.
that's also why we did that.
So yeah, we have a couple of plans for landscaping around the fence. That's also one of the reasons I didn't necessarily need or want a perfectly straight fence.
Right.
I'm gonna have a rose garden right here to my left. I have a beautiful rose that I brought with us from our former house. Well, I have several. I brought all my plants. You'll see. They're gonna go right here. This is gonna be a nice sitting area where you can sit, have a cup of tea or coffee, whatever your drink is, and have the animals get behind you. It's really shady because we've got a giant walnut tree right here in the afternoon. So I also plan on planting a pollinator tour garden behind here. It'll be an educational area for our kids and other maybe kids from other co-ops to come and learn about the plants that our native animals need, like the hummingbirds and the butterflies and the bees and all the beneficial plants that they could have. So I don't want to block the view, so I'm not going to plant anything high in front of our fence, but I definitely am going to add some color booms. Is that a thing? It's a thing. I'm gonna add some color booms right behind us, the length of this fence.
But yeah,
yeah.
It was a labor of love. It took about a month, I guess,
Yeah.
off and on.
I like that. I thought we could get it done in a day.
I could only work on it on the weekends and then after work. So it took a little while, but yeah. I again want to say, had it not been for our friends,
Tremendous
loving
amount of
friends
help.
and neighbors, we could not have done it. So, and you know, it's not perfect, but I really like it. I think it looks good.
I like it too.
It definitely gets the job done. It serves the purpose. I mean, Pumpkin seems to like it. Virgil likes it. The chickens can't get in or out of it. Goats like it. So
Yeah.
it's good.
It's great, and I really appreciate
good.
all your hard work.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, that's all for this video. Thanks for joining the tour.
There is footage of it. You're gonna put footage in here of us doing it, right?
Well, it's already in it. It's been in it the whole time by now.
Y'all been watching it the whole time. I didn't know.
That's right.
My bad.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thank y'all.
We have a lot more fun videos coming as we continue in this new homestead adventure. Please stay tuned and join us for the rest of the ride. Well, we certainly learned a lot through this process. I think one of the things I realized the most was what a gift it is to have community that you can call on for help. This would have taken us months and months and months to do ourselves. We don't have heavy duty equipment. We have just our own two hands. But oh my goodness, what a gift to have friends that are willing to lend their time, but also their equipment. Oh, what a gift. And now every time I see this fence, I just think of the selflessness of our community and our friends. And this fence was a true gift. It really was. To do this by hand, I think it would build a lot of integrity and a lot of muscles. I don't necessarily need any more of those things. I just was in a hurry to get my animals out of their stalls and into the fence to let them roam around and free graze. So getting this done with the equipment was much, much faster than we could have ever done by hand. So we started by auging our holes about 6 feet apart. And we originally were going to put these planks across the top and the bottom, and then we decided against it. Oh, this is so silly. I turned on the camera to capture this moment and realized how good my hair looked. I was a little self-absorbed, and then he was like, "Would you help me pick this thing up?" So this thing is so much heavier than it looks. Oh my goodness, it's what, 5.5 feet tall, and oh, it is so heavy. It looks like it's not because it's an open weave, but no, it's a good 50 pounds, maybe more. Gosh, I don't know. The first step after you unwind it is to get this attached with your U-nails or your high tensile wire to the very first post. So this is where we started. So this is Keith, my neighbor, and he is showing us every single step of attaching this. When we first got started, we did not realize that this had to be stretched. And if we had realized that, we wouldn't have gone this route, because stretching horse panel fencing by hand is really, really hard. Let me explain this piece of wood. There are 2 pieces of wood that clamp down on both sides of this fence with bolts, and it has a chain attached to it. You can attach a vice grip to it called a come along. to pull it really, really tight. And it can be done by hand, but I was not strong enough to pull it as tight as it needed. This is me working alone, rolling this thing out, and I used 2 entire bags of Epsom salts in my bath that night to try to provide some relief to my aching muscles. I finally got it. Victory dance! I finally got it undone. Now I'm rolling it out, and this is the time where you attach the second paneling to the first paneling, and that means winding these little pieces of metal onto each other. It is time consuming and so laborious. All right, here's the come along. You basically use this winch and you are tightening it and tightening it. It is so hard to do it by hand. I'm sure my husband can do it a lot better, but it was really hard for me. Okay, this right here, this just makes my carpal tunnel and my arthritis scream. It was cold, and to attach the paneling to itself, you have to basically wind these around each other. It is finicky. It is hard. I hope I never have to do this again. I'm going to sit here and make you watch every single step of this, because if I had to do it, then you have to watch me struggle. Just kidding. I think it speeds along here in a second. No? We're just taking our sweet time. All right. Well, there it is. There. You're miserable, just like I was. All right. Here's a good up close look at what that fence stretcher beam thing. I'm sure there's a name for it. Man, I sound like a real farmer, don't I? I think it's funny that he's using the back end of an axe to hammer that in. I love the tractor scenes. That tall grass that's blowing in the wind is called broom sedge, and brooms were actually made out of it. I think I want to try it. Like the hippie pioneer that lives deep inside me wants to try it. I will never use it because, funny story, I hate cleaning. But I think it would look funny to have, or kind of cute to have one hanging up. All right, so here we are. We got it rolled out. We're lifting up the fence. And now, after it's all lifted up, we're going to stretch it. But this time, we're going to use the tractor to pull it really, really tight. This is so much easier. Now, here we are just getting all these things attached. There's the tractor. It's holding it tight while we get those U-nails bent in. And we're going to attach a third set of paneling. These rolls, I think they were about $100, and we needed 5 of them. So we went slowly just to go with our budget. Mr. Keith and I are attaching it together. 2 definitely work faster than 1. And I had somebody very knowledgeable to talk to the entire time. So I was learning all kinds of things about tools and fencing and farming. And now you get to see the magic. Unrolling this thing with it sitting upright on his tractor. Oh my gosh, it's so much better than laying it down on the ground. Look how heavy this thing is. I could like barely lift it up and kick it in. There we go. And now, magic. This feels like when you're cutting wrapping paper and the scissors start to glide on their own. That's exactly what this feels like. Magic. Lifting it up, getting it settled, because after this, we're going to have to stretch it out again and then attach it with the U-nails. Oh, it's such a long process. When I called a fencing company to ask them to for a quote on doing the fence for us, they quoted me $20,000. Now I know why. Oh, Liza. She always wants to be in there for snuggles and hugs and kisses. Oh, such a sweetie. All right, so as you can see, we've got the, what do you call that thing? Wood cinch pulley thing. That's an official word. I'm gonna name it that officially. We get like a good 6 inches of pulling when we use the tractor, and that means this thing is ultra mega tight. It's not going anywhere. There's no sagging anywhere in the fence. Looks so good. Don't need that. All right, so here we are just going along and buttoning up a few of the things like
securing these end posts. We did not have them tightened like you should, and so the fence was pulling the posts inward, almost like when you pull those strings on your hoodie and it tightens the whole thing. So what we are doing there is making sure that these corner posts are not drawing inward. We went back later and fixed that, but you can see how much forward that how far forward that one post is leaning. Got stretched pretty bad. And now the fence is done. Celebration, celebration. I love it without the beams in it. You can see right through it. It's such a clear view. There's no kids that can climb on it. I love how it turned out. It's a really nice looking fence. Look at my sweet girl. Oh, I love this horse so much. She is my dream. And this is our fence. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching us struggle and learn. It is such a pleasure to have this fence up and to be able to provide a safe place for all of our animals. Have a wonderful day, and please tune in for the next video. Who knows where our next adventure will take us?